Hi, welcome to the Tabs and Icons video series. In this video, we're going to look at three vital functions of Microsoft Excel. The first function we're going to look at is the if function, followed by the ifs, and then we'll wrap up with the VLOOKUP function. My name is Karo Ezuzu, and I'll be taking you through this short video. Now, let's look at what these three functions actually can do. We are using the three functions to achieve the same purpose. Let's look at our hypothetical data. In this data, we have serial number, staff names, and their performance in the first quarter of the year. How many staff do we have now? We have 70 staff. So let's look at our requirement. What are we supposed to do with this data? The first requirement is that we have to calculate the total deposit per staff for the first quarter. That shouldn't be a problem to any Excel user. I'm just going to highlight the whole of this one down to the end. You can actually do the summation in any of those known approaches. I'm going to say alt equal to, so I have actually added all. So that solves requirement number one, calculate the total deposit per staff for the first quarter. So that's not a problem. Let's look at the next one, which is a bit more of a technical one. Assign the relevant grade to the staff using the bank's rating band below. So we're going to look at each of the staff and assign a grade from this A, B to F. We're told that less than or equal to 100 million naira performance for the first quarter will be rated F, but performance 101 to 150 will be rated D, 151 to 200 will be rated C, 200 to 250 will be rated B, while performance above 250 will be rated A. So let's use first the if statement. We know what the if statement does. A logic statement stating a logic and then a value if that logic is true and another value if that logic is false. Now the if statement is so robust that it can indent up to 32 times. So running an if statement for how many are these? A to F, so 5 criteria shouldn't be a problem. So I'll start by typing the equal to if, we know how it was, and I'm asked what is the logic test. That's what's my argument. And I'm going to use this number saying if this number is less than or equal to 100. That's our first argument there. I take a comma, it's asking me value if true. If this statement is true, what happened? The person should score an F. And we know F is not a number, so I'm going to put that in double quotes. Now, this is what it should score if it's less than or equal to 100. The next thing it's asking is value if false. What if this statement is false? That means if the person does not score less than or equal to 100. Now, because there are other criteria, parameters here, we can't determine the value if false. So we have to define the next one. So let me go back here. We have to define the next one, and I'm going to say if, again, I come to the next argument, this value is less or equal to 150. That's the next upper limit. I take a comma. Value if false is D. So I'm going to take D. Yeah, that's value if true. If that argument is true, the candidate will score a D. Now, value if false, they still have 3 more, so I can't determine value if false. So I indent again. If this particular value again, the third one is 200, less or equal to 200, I take a comma. Value if true, if that is true, the person scores a C, so I take a C. Value if false, there are still 2 more arguments, so I can't determine that, so I'm also going to take another if statement. If this is less or equal to, what's the next one? 250, I take a comma. Value if true will be B, and I take a comma. Value if false, there's only one option remaining, so that should be the value if false. Now at this point, you don't need to define again, so value if false automatically is A. Now this is all. Remember, we have indented about 4 or 5 times. We'll need to close the brackets, the statement with about 4, but if you're working with Excel, if that's your problem, don't bother. Just hit your enter key and Excel will show you this, saying that we found a typo, blah, 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 and then it's going to close it with the 5 arguments. So just take OK or yes. So this solves that. I'll just double tap and I have all my arrangements there. Now, let me go to the next one, which is the ifs function. Now, the ifs function is actually an improvement on the if function. Microsoft thought rather than use if, continue indenting, you could just type one ifs and then you define your logic. Now, the difference between the ifs and the if is that the ifs does not have a value if false. Remember, the last value for the if statement was value if false. The ifs does not have value if false, so you have to define your criteria up to the last requirement. So I'm going to say equal to ifs. Now, if you're not using 2016 version, you won't have ifs. It was introduced into the 2016 Excel version. So I say ifs. It's asking me logic 1. Remember, the if did not say logic 1. It said logic test. So I'm going to define logic 1. This is less or equal to 100. I take a comma. Value if true is F. Now, when I take this, you see it's not asking me value if false because the ifs does not have value if false. You will define your logic up to the last one. So the second logic will be this one, less or equal to 150. Value if true is going to be D, and I take my comma. It's asking for the third logic. The third logic will be this one, less or equal to 200 this time, and I take a comma. Value if true is going to be C. Value if true is going to be C, and then as for next logic, this one, less or equal to 250. Value if true will be B, and then it's asking for the next logic. Remember, when we use if statement, we said value if false, but this time you define it up to the last. I'm going to say if this value here is greater than 250, that's what I'm going to say. Value if true is A, and I think this logic is right. I hit my enter key and confirm we are fine. So this is correct. I hit my key down, and then I look at the fact that I have done it with the if statement. I'm doing it with the if statement. Let me compare. I compare the two, and I'm saying that virtually everything is the same thing. All are the same thing. So that means I can use either the if or the if statement. Now let's come to the last one, which is the VLOOKUP function. We know the VLOOKUP function traditionally to be ending with false or 0. Now, because of that, most users of Excel, especially users below the intermediate level, have assumed that the default for VLOOKUP is false or 0. But you can actually use true. You know what true means is that you are saying in the event that that value is not seen, you can use a lower approximate value. So let's first of all look at the syntax of the VLOOKUP statement. Let me take out this from here. Fine. This is the syntax of the VLOOKUP statement. VLOOKUP, you have a lookup value, which is the value you want to search for. You have your range, then the column index number. Now you can see all these are mandatory arguments. The optional arguments are true and false. Now in the event that you skip the optional argument, the system will assume false. Now most time we use false is because we are always searching for the exact match. So if you're searching for student employee number, staff employee number, you're looking for the exact number. Student matriculation number, the exact number. Most of the things we use in the commercial environment, we're actually searching for the exact match. That's why you see us always using F. But true simply means that in the event that you don't see the value you're looking for, you can search for the next lower approximate value and use that particular value. So what we're going to do is we already have our data range, and all I'm going to do is to reproduce the data range. So I'm going to come here and say range. Okay, let me take the lowest value. Lowest range value, lowest value, lowest value of the range. So now for the first range is 0 to 100. So the lowest value there is 0. The next range is 101 to 150. So the lowest value there is 101. 101, the next one. And then the next one, lowest value is 151. So I type 151. The next one, the lowest value is 201. I type 201. Now for A, the lowest value will be 251. Now, what is the grade by our rating? The grade here will be F. The grade here will be D, C, B, and A. Now, this is reproducing our grading criteria by the bank. So all I need is to make reference to this particular one using the logic syntax we have indicated. Now, this is what I'm going to search for. Obviously, I'm not going to see the exact value here because if I pick 187, for example, I'm not going to pick C187 here. Now, when I take false, it's asking that if I don't see 187, what is the next lower value here? If you look now, the next lower value is 151, and that means the person is going to score C. So I think the argument is constructive enough. So let's start. Equal to VLOOKUP. What am I looking up? I'm looking up this value. Where data array, I'm looking for that value in this table. Now remember that the value you're looking for must occupy the first column to the left, which is still okay. We're looking for a value on the first column under the lowest value. And I take a comma. It's asking for column index number. We have only 2 columns here, and I'm searching on the second one. So I take 2. Now this is where come. Traditionally, we take exact match because we're looking for exact value. But this time, I'm looking for an approximate value. So I'm going to select true. Very easy. I hit my enter key. Look, it's telling me that particular candidate got C. So what am I going to do? Since I intend to copy, I'm going to highlight the whole of this one and hold it fixed. Function F4, so I don't have any problem there. All I need is to copy this particular formula down. Now you've seen that whichever function I use, I'm having the same score. That's how to use the VLOOKUP statement with true argument. Now let's look at the 3 formulas. Let me bring out the formulas. The first one we use was the if statement. This is the function. You can see the if statement there. Let me make this a bit bigger so we can see it well. That is the argument. The second one, we use the ifs. So let's see the ifs. This is the ifs. That's what we use for the second one, which is the ifs. Okay, let me take it on that so I can. Now the third one, we use the VLOOKUP. So let's see what VLOOKUP argument gave us. So these are the 3 arguments that we use. You can see the if function indenting up to the last one. You can see the ifs indent to this. You can see the VLOOKUP. And I think the VLOOKUP looks shorter, except that you've got to create a table by the side to reference. So this is how these 3 functions work, achieving the same purpose using different functions. When you finish this, you can try it on your own. And if you've been watching this video to this particular point, it means you enjoy our video. So click the subscribe so that when we release new videos, you can always get the notification and probably click the notification bell. Thank you very much for listening. In other videos that I'm going to be producing, you'll see much more of what Excel can do. Bye-bye.